If you had to choose between these two, are you plastic or are you metal? So I have a question for you, and I'm not going to give you any backstory. I'm not going to provide any clarifying commentary. I'm just going to ask you a very simple question, and I want you to answer it. You can verbalize it if you want, but if you're around others, you might want to keep this in your head. Here's the question. If you had to choose between these two, are you plastic or are you metal? Go ahead. I'll give you time to think. Seriously, try it. I bet you I know where you went. My gut tells me you answered that as plastic, because without any clarification, without any backstory, without any color commentary, what do you think of when you think of plastic? Malleable, flexible, bendable. Although you don't really take a different shape, you bend without breaking. You're able to deal with whatever life throws your way. You're able to be flexible in certain situations. You're true to your core. You're true to your beliefs. You're true to your principles. But you're able to move around a little bit when appropriate and when necessary. Metal is rigid. Metal is cold. Metal is heavy. Those aren't really attributes that you would probably ascribe to yourself, I would have to imagine. If that's the way you answered it, and if that's the justification that you offered for doing that, I want to try a little bit of a perspective readjustment exercise. So when I think of this question, are you plastic or are you metal? Here's what I think about. Yes, plastic is flexible. Plastic is bendable. Plastic is malleable. Plastic is going to give, it's going to bend, but it's not going to break. And on the surface, those seem like really good qualities. My question for you, though, is this. What happens when you subject plastic to fire? What happens if you put plastic in an oven? What happens when you put plastic in a controlled space, in a controlled environment, and you turn up the heat markedly? Well, what happens? I double majored in biology and chemistry in college, and I minored in physics, but you don't have to double major in biology and chemistry to know exactly what happens. When you expose plastic to fire, when you turn up the temperature in a confined space with plastic, what does plastic do? It melts. It turns into a puddle of goo. At that point, plastic is not usable, it's just liquid, and that's not going to do a lot of good for anybody. Conversely now, let's talk about metal. On the surface by itself, yes, metal is big, metal is cold, metal is heavy, metal doesn't bend, metal is inflexible, I suppose, if you want to call it that, and those might not be attributes you want to assign to yourself. But let me ask you the same question, just like I did with plastic. What happens to metal when you throw it in the fire? What happens to metal when you turn up the temperature in a very confined space? Whereas plastic melted and plastic turned into a puddle of goo, what happens to metal? Metal is not the finished product just yet. Metal is the starting product. You have to subject metal to fire so you can bend it, so you can shape it, so you can form it. Metal will never realize its finished product until it's subjected to heat. Metal needs heat. Metal needs fire to arrive at its final product. Whereas plastic is final by itself. When you subject that to fire and heat, plastic melts. So what are we talking about here? I don't understand. Why are we comparing plastic, metal, and heat? Well, the reason is this. Think about what you're going through in life right now. Think about what you're enduring. Think about the season of your life right now. Is it hot from time to time? Are you in the fire right now? Has the temperature been turned up markedly for some way, shape, or form? What does that mean to turn up the temperature? Maybe you're struggling with finances. You're feeling the heat. Maybe work isn't going so well. You're feeling the heat. Maybe your relationship with your partner, your parents, your children, maybe those aren't as worthwhile as you want them to be. You're feeling the heat. In life, you're going to feel the heat. There's a temperature increase just about every single day. Some days it's dramatically more than others. Hell, some days you're right in the middle of the fire. You're right in the furnace. If you're plastic, you're going to melt. The temperature goes up, you wither. You get thrown in the fire, you turn into a useless puddle of goo, And now you're not good to anybody, let alone yourself. But now what if you're metal? Metal needs fire. Metal requires heat. Metal by itself is not the finished product. It becomes refined, enhanced, and realizes its ultimate form because of heat. Is that you? Maybe you got to go outside of your comfort zone. Maybe you got to make a big sales pitch. Maybe you're scheduled to give a keynote speech and you're terrified about it. It's going to get very hot. You're going to feel it. But if you're metal, you need that heat to form you, to shape you, and to turn you into the best final product that we could ever imagine. You're not yourself yet. You need to go outside your comfort zone. You need to be subjected to the heat to become the beautiful finished product that you were. So think about that. The next time you face an increased temperature, the next time you're in the middle of a fire, the next time the heat is starting to go up, ask yourself, are you plastic and be useless? Or are you metal where you need the heat, crave the heat, want the heat to become the best version of yourself imaginable?